Imagine opening a book that wasn't written by human hands, but whispered into existence by a force dwelling beyond the veil. Manual of the Faceless God is not a mere reading. It is a rite of passage, an invocation, an explosion of consciousness that shatters the boundaries of the visible and the nameable. In this work, Aleister Crowley, prophet of the occult, architect of the ineffable, leads us to a threshold where names dissolve and only pure will remains. Here there are no dogmas, no idols, only a question burning like sacred fire. Who are you when you can no longer see yourself? Every word in this is a key, every silence a crack in the mask you call I. The Faceless God does not worship, he demands awakening. This is not a path for the fearful, but for those who dare to stare into the abyss and keep walking. Prepare yourself, because once you hear his voice, your voice behind all others, there is no turning back. This is the manual, this is the empty mirror, and you are about to enter. Did you expect enlightenment? Did you expect redemption? A ladder to the sky or a white robe woven with kind words? Then close this book now. This is not a path, it is an open wound that never heals. This is not a text, it is a given under the tongue. This is not a gospel, it is the burned mirror. Here you will not find comfort, hope, or promises. Here you will find what you have buried. The you that does not ask for permission. The you that does not seek meaning. The you that does not need a name because it is pure fire, and fire has no face. Who are you? Do you truly believe you can answer? Every time you name yourself, you chain yourself. Every time you choose a symbol, you surrender. Every time you repeat the story that was told to you, you condemn yourself to die within it. I did not come to build, I came to demolish, to laugh at altars, to tear off the masks of saints, to urinate on biographies, to burn the genealogies of the soul. Do you want truth? I have it, but the truth is not a garden. It is an abyss that devours the one who doubts. And when you enter it, you will come out different, if you come out at all. Because many read books like this, seeking tools, and end up becoming ruins, because they were not ready to see themselves without skin. You have said, I do not want to be Jesus. I do not want to be the I do not want to be the and for that
Hello. Oh, fucking A.
The name is a chain, a sound cage, an inherited agreement, a mark placed by others so that you can be called by them. The name is the most elegant form of slavery because it allows you to feel unique when in reality you have been pigeonholed. And you, proud of your name, kneel every time you pronounce it. You repeat it in documents, in rituals, in dreams, and forget that you were not born with it. It was imposed on you, and you accepted it, you descended with it, you worshipped it like a dog licking its own leash. I, Aleister Crowley, did not go by birth. I chose the name as one chooses a weapon, but I never confused myself with it. I was never a prisoner of my mask. My name was a knife, not an altar. And when it no longer served me, I let it bleed on the pages and kept walking. You too can let it go, but it will not be enough to change it. It is not baptizing yourself that will set you free. It is stopping the need to define yourself. It is existing without a label. It is looking the world in the eyes and offering no explanation about what you are. Because what you are does not fit in words, does not fit in concept, does not fit in temple. Have you noticed how every time you name yourself, you limit yourself? I am good, I am bad, I am spiritual, I am human. Each of those phrases is a prison, a cell disguised as identity. And every time you identify with something fixed, you surrender your power to that form and fire is not contained. The initiate who has begun to tear the veil no longer responds to names. They become presence, a vibration that does not need to be named because it imposes itself. It is felt, it is respected, it is feared. Look at the prophets, the saints, the kings, they all named themselves. They all had to say, I am such and such to exist, because without that shield, they fell apart. Because their identity was not essence, it was wet paper, ego wrapped in incense, a shadow that feared the void. But true power does not need to present itself. It is perceived. And so, if you have decided to enter this grimoire, you must start with the suicide of the name. Do not define yourself. Destroy yourself. Forget your biography. Burn it. Do not tell it anymore. Do not use it as a passport to others' respect. Make silence your new face, and watch how others no longer know how to call you because they have begun to fear you. The name makes you recognizable, and everything recognizable can be controlled. The unnameable being cannot be invoked, cannot be directed, cannot be contained. It is a fire that changes shape, a verb that never allows itself to be conjugated. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, and if your will is to burn without the need for applause, title, or story, then break your name. Destroy it with the fury of one who has been born 1,000 times and stay only with that. The fire that cannot be explained, the being that does not fit in words, the you before the you. Chapter 2, the farce of good, fear dressed as virtue. Everything they call good is fear that learned to disguise itself. It's not virtue, it's not love, it's not elevated compassion, it's emotional obedience, parasitic programming, a straitjacket scented with incense, a morality for the domesticated. The idea of good has been the most successful of the faceless enemy because it doesn't impose shackles. It convinces you that you chose them, and so they say, be good, be just, be understanding, forgive, love, serve, be silent. And you, chained in gold, smile, thinking that it elevates you. But the only thing the common good elevates is the throne of those who dominate you. They have taught you that goodness is helping others, mercy, sacrifice. All those words smell like ash, like wrapped bodies, like mutilated will, because helping is not bad. But doing it from a moral obligation turns you into a martyr, a slave to spiritual parasites who do not dare to take, and thus manipulate to receive. Do you want to know if something is good? Ask yourself if you would do it. They ask if they're obeying their center. And when they do, the universe calls them real, although the world calls them dangerous, or demon, or beast. I was called a monster, a witch, a heretic, an abomination, and every insult was incense reminding me, I have not betrayed myself, I have not kneeled before the altar of good. I followed my fire, and that is why I burn, but I burn standing. Do your will, it shall be all the law. And if your will still needs to be good, then it is not yours, it's the flock's. Break it, profane it, do what burns inside, even if it burns everything outside. Because the fire that destroys the imposed good creates the only throne that does not fall, the one that rises over real ashes, false smiles, or fear dressed as virtue. Chapter 3. You shall not imitate anyone, not master, not angel, not beast. They taught you to imitate before you learned to breathe. They told you there were saints to follow, masters to obey, models to admire, angels to aspire in the name of someone else's fire. It's replicating a structure that was never meant to contain itself. And every time you repeat the gestures, you distance. Every time you repeat the gestures, you love their character.
And the person that just had the shit slapped back in the truck is the person.
The demon, the enlightened, the libertine, the radiant angel, or the god of stone.
TikTok is trash. Let's talk about that.
Is a mask. You did not come here to act, you came here to burn. Humanity offers you models, the initiative that was that. Humanity asks for discipline, humility, obedience. You break mirrors, destroy genealogies, spit on lineages, because you do not form yourself from repetition, but from watching. You think true power comes from learning techniques, reading treaties, copying masters. It does not come when, amidst silence, you discover a gesture no one taught you, and that gesture creates reality. Without permission, without precedent, without a name. I, Aleister Crowley, was not the heir of a tradition. I was the rupture. I was the abyss between systems. I was the blasphemy that made the poets.
You're talking about the Joker, that movie he did in the very Joaquin Phoenix Joker, where he was like, very natural motion. For you, anyway?
You see it that has not yet been written. And if you prostitute it to fit into the mold of some master, some angel, some closed figure, you will become shadow, echo, error. Do what seekers the great stuff. Do what has never been done. Do not copy rituals, invent them. Do not follow commandments. Write them in your lap, and let them come true when you speak. Do not imitate strength. Come at source. Do your will, it shall be all. And if your will still resembles someone else's too much, it is not will, it is fallen will. Tear it out, destroy it, until the only influence is you. No mirror, no reflection, no need for proof. Because the one who does not imitate no longer needs to be understood, only needs to be obeyed by reality. And reality before the only one does not like it. It means. Chapter 4. The ego is not eliminated, it is mastered, mounted, carried like a weapon. Who told you the ego was your enemy? Who sold you the illusion of absolute detachment, of the dissolved self, transparent sainthood? Probably a mutilated one disguised as a wise man, someone who failed to master their own fire and decided to extinguish it to feel at peace with their weakness. The ego is not the problem. The ignorance of the ego is. The fear of the ego is. The inability to use it as a weapon. That is what makes the ego a torturer instead of a servant. Do you think you can eliminate the ego? Then you are trying to eliminate your sword in the middle of the battlefield, and you will be cut by those who know how to wield it. The ego is the warhorse. It is not you, but without it you cannot ride. Without it you cannot speak, decide, chart, face, penetrate the world. Without it, you are wind without direction, energy without purpose, light that neither burns nor transforms. I never wanted to eliminate it. I mounted it, I trained it like a sacred beast. I taught it to obey my will, not my impulses. I fed it with burning images and cutting words. And when my soul wanted to rest, I sent it to the battlefield as the living banner of my center. The ego is not an obstacle to the divine. It is the vehicle. It is the mask with which the fire becomes visible. It is the operational symbol of the real presence. And that is why the true initiate is not ashamed to have an ego. They are ashamed of not mastering it, of hiding it, of pretending humility when what burns inside is the desire for total supremacy. Because yes, the ego wants to reign and you do too, but you know that the throne is not outside, it is inside. And that is why you use the ego as the sword of the soul, as an extension of the invisible, as the form that vibrates to the rhythm of your will. Do your will, it shall be all the law. And if your will still trembles before your own ego, then you are outside the circle. Return to the temple only when you are ready to look at yourself without fear and tell your ego, you are not the king, but you will be my sword, and you will not stop cutting until the world remembers who rules. Chapter 5. Make pain your forge. Only what burns becomes real. Pain is not punishment. Pain is not karma. Pain is not a test, a lesson, or a message from the universe. Pain is the hammer that breaks what you are not and reveals what can never be destroyed. You, reader of grimoires, you who did not come to be saved or redeemed, you need pain. You need it as fire needs oxygen, because while it doesn't hurt, you're still comfortable. And while you're comfortable, you remain asleep. The true initiate does not flee from suffering. He turns it into alchemy, into a sword, into an altar. Each scar is a line carved in the invisible book of his power. Each fall is a signature. Each rejection is a seal. Each exile is a throne built deeper inside. The weak want to heal, the kings want to burn, because they know that only in combustion does the true metal reveal itself. Doesn't gold need fire to purify itself? Doesn't steel get forged under brutal blows? Did you, who claim to want to awaken, expect to do so among feathers and sweet songs? You were lied to. Those who promised you peace before you faced yourself are the sellers of empty temples. Real peace does not come before pain. It comes after burning everything. And when it arrives, it is not passivity. It is silence with a jawline, calm with a throne, emptiness that cannot be touched. I have felt pain in all its forms, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and I never rejected it. I embraced it as a dark lover, used it as a tool, turned it into word, into invocation, into form. And so each wound became a symbol, each night became sacred fire, each betrayal became raw material for my inner temple. You can do it too, but you need to stop running, stop healing, stop wanting it to not hurt, stop looking at fire as punishment, and start walking into it with open eyes, with a bared chest, with sharpened will. Make pain your ritual. Do not explain it, do not deny it. Use it, observe it as it tears you apart, and carve each cut with your secret name. And when you leave that night, if you leave, you will no longer be human. You will be a seal, a cry, a living decree. Do your will, it shall be the law. And if your will still wants to avoid suffering, then it is not will. It is a desire to return to the womb. But you were not made to return. You were made to burn. and only what burns becomes real. Chapter 6. Your story is garbage. Burn your past as an offense to your greatness. What are you still doing telling your story? What are you still doing repeating that parade of wounds, traumas, small victories as if your past were an altar worthy of incense? Your story is garbage. Not because it wasn't real, but because you keep worshipping it as if it defined you. And that is an offense to your fire. You have become a narrator of ruins. Every time you speak of what happened to you, what was done to you, what you've overcome, you shackle yourself. Everything you remember with pride or with sorrow keeps you bound to the form you were and prevents you from mutating. The true initiate has no past. He has only an absolute present and a kindled will. He does not drag, does not justify, does not build on what was lived, but on what was decreed. And what was decreed does not need memory, it needs fire. I, Alistair Crowley, never sat to tell the story of my childhood as an excuse. I did not use my biography as an emotional weapon. The story for me was just clay, and I broke it as many times as necessary until no word remained in me that wasn't mine. You must do the same. Your story is not you. Your traumas do not define you. Your past victories are tombstones, and you still use them as trophies. Because every time you repeat, I am this way because this happened to me, you are handing your crown to the ghost of what you were. And do you know what ghosts do? They imitate you, whisper to you from the depths of the subconscious, caress you with guilt, nostalgia, attachment. And instead of exorcising them, you invite them to your altar, feed them, ask them for identity, as if the wound had the right to rule you. Enough. Burn your story, make your biography 1 hour. Look at every memory as a false idol and destroy it mercilessly. There's nothing that smells of yesterday, because yesterday is the Bible. And you did not come here to be dragged, you came to rise. The true initiate does not present himself. He does not say who he is, he simply is. His presence does not need background. His vibration does not come from the past. It comes from an eternal center. And that center needs no resume, only silence and fire. Do your will. It shall be the law. And if your will still quotes your story to justify itself, then it is not will, it is sick narration. Break the chain. Remove the names, tear the dates, and be without a past. For only in the one without history is the truly newborn, the unnameable, the inviolable. Because as long as you keep saying, I am the one who suffered this, or I am the one who achieved that, you are still a slave to the echo. And the echo does not create realities, it only repeats them. Do everything and be reborn without language, without chronicle, without wounds to show as decorations. Then, and only then, will the universe bow before you, because it will have no way to recognize you, and what cannot be recognized cannot be stopped. Chapter 7. Do not seek meaning, impose it. They made you believe that life has a hidden meaning, a higher purpose, a secret reason you must discover, as if the universe were a vault and you a beggar with silk gloves. Lie. There is no meaning waiting to be found. There is only emptiness waiting to be ordered by your will. The one who seeks meaning outside of themselves has declared themselves a subject. The true initiate does not seek meaning. They impose it, they engrave it, they hammer it onto the flesh of the universe like a burning seal. You wait for the world to reveal why you are here. Do you think there is a predestined function, a divine purpose like a comforting fable? Then you are still worshipping an external God, a structure that thinks for you, an entity that writes you. But you were not made to be read. You were made to be the author. Who seeks meaning is a slave to chance. The one who imposes it is their own God. Do not ask, why is this happening to me? Ask, what decree will I inscribe upon this? Do not ask, what is my mission? Declare, this is my law. I never sought meaning in temples, nor in sacred texts, nor in the stars. I captured them, rewrote them, violated them with my word, because the universe was not made to be understood. It was made to obey, and it obeys those who do not doubt. Philosophers seek meaning, poets dream it, religious people invent it, the initiate imposes it, and does not explain it, because what needs explanation is already begging for existence. Do you feel perfect emptiness? That emptiness is not a disease. It is your canvas, your altar, your space of imposition. Because chaos fears only one thing, the will that does not tremble. The universe, like a wild animal, does not let itself be caressed. But if you take it by the neck and shout your decree, it aligns, it surrenders, it bends and serves you, not out of love, but by nature, because the world was made to obey those who no longer ask. Make your will, and it will be all the law. If your will still kneels before the altar of What does this mean? Then it is not will. It is elegant lamentation. It is fear disguised as seeking. Break it. Rise. Not to understand, but to trace, to carve meaning with your very existence. And let every step you take, every word you utter, every gaze you hold, be a decree that the universe cannot ignore or question, because those who seek meaning read books, but those who impose it write them with fire, blood, silence, and power. Chapter 8. Rewrite the silence. Where there is no God, there is will. You have feared silence because you were told that God resides there. You closed your eyes, hoping to hear a soft voice, a sweet presence, a luminous revelation, and all you found was emptiness, abyss, coldness, nothing. And then you thought you had failed.
I did spell road. I was
Silence
looking at
was not
like
absence, it was virgin space, open field waiting for a decree, matter without a seal waiting for your fist. There is no God in silence. There is dormant will waiting